I'm a human just like everybody else, and that means I can make mistakes in battles. A lot of people always think that I am, like, impervious to making mistakes, and when I do, oh boy, it's like the end of the world. In reality, everybody makes mistakes. Some people have an off day, you're doing really well one day, the next day you just get bad team after bad team after bad team. Today's video, we are going to be looking at a game where I don't make a mistake. You see, if you read the comments on my latest 121B video, you will see a lot of people saying, I can't help but think if you'd finished off the mouse in that first battle, it might have been winnable. You should have finished off the mouse, because unless your team is already penning shots and you're alive, you can't rely on teammates to kill a vehicle with 100 HP. First game, you should have helped kill 2 one-shot low, blah blah blah. There is a lot of comments saying, first battle, I don't know what else I could have done. You stopped and the enemy took advantage. You could have helped finish off the mouse, blah, blah, blah. We're going to take a look at this battle. We're going to break it apart, and we're going to see how in any world, me killing a 100 HP mouse would have resulted in this being a win. I don't know what else to say. Sometimes I agree with people. Sometimes I'd be like, all right, guys, you know what? I did make a mistake. I'm wrong. But this game was the biggest L ever. And we have so many points of evidence to prove this, so I don't want to see any comments saying otherwise. Here we go. Right at the beginning of the game, we can see 2 Sheridans have made it up mid-hill. One has lost about half the health, and the other is still fairly healthy, only losing about 300. So just like that, I no longer have control on mid-hill. This is obviously common sense. We're going to also full screen this. We get 1 shell into the object 260, and my M60 makes a really dumb poke and loses half of his health for literally no reason. So at this point, the game is not starting off great. We've got the Sheridans up in the front, my shell dips into the dirt, which is really unfortunate. My Yo is getting bled. I'm still trying to get out damage here. We can see the IS-7 is, I don't know, he's just kind of going back and forth on the hill. So we're just going to wait. We're going to see. Obviously, holding mid-hill is very important. If you hold it, you can at least somewhat win, but the moment you give up mid-hill on mines, as any skilled players know, you basically forfeit the game. So I get 1 shot into the IS-7, and I basically realize, okay, this ain't it, Chief. I'm not going to waste my time trying to hold a hill when all I have is a Yo and a Sheridan there. It's just not going to happen. So I'm going to flank over towards town. And there is the vehicle in question that apparently everybody is so up in arms about, the mouse. We are going to farm this player a lot. We're going to bring him down to about 100 HP. So we're going to keep shooting him here. There we go. Another shot into his side. Reloading again. We're just going to skip ahead a little bit. So we have brought the mouse down to, at this point, 900 HP. You will also notice that I have a teammate face-hugging this mouse with about 2,000 hit points left. We are going to shoot this mouse. He is now at about 160 hit points, and we are at 3,300 damage. I'm going to try and help the 57 Heavy. Unfortunately, he sits in a really bad spot, and I'm not able to do anything. Okay, so let's go back really quick, right? Try to help out the 57. This right here is where people are telling me I should have killed the mouse. Now, if we take a look at where the mouse is, he is completely behind that building. For me to get to that mouse, I just want to point out that, first of all, there are 2 Sheridan up on the hill. We can see both of them spotted on the hill right now. There's also a minnow off to my right next to this rock. People are saying that I could have very easily just driven around the mouse and killed him. And in return, I probably would have lost at least 1,000 HP to the minnow, and that's without even saying that the Sheridans would have shot me. Just alone, this thought process makes no sense. Why would I risk losing 1,500 to 1,000 HP, at minimum 500, so that I can kill a single 100 HP player when I have a 2,000 hit point mouse and a 1,300 Sheridan pushing in to get to the side of the 260. It doesn't make sense. Logically, you would expect these 2 players, both being way higher in hit points compared to the mouse and the 260, to be able to kill these 2 players. And while that's going on, a smart player like myself would go mid-hill, especially as my Yo just got cleared, giving spots to my grill, and try to help out. You can even see I was turning around to about to go back to the mouse, but then I realized I can't do that. I have a teammate off to the side, my M60 who's still alive, and I need to try and cover him, because if that M60 dies, the game is basically over. And unfortunately, the M60 does die. So they still have a 700 health STB. They have a 1,700 health IS-7, and a full health minnow on the other side of my tank. I get shot by the IS-7, and the mouse is still alive because my teammate doesn't end up killing him. There is no world where me killing that mouse would have won us this game. The Sheridan finishes off the 260. There's a 100 health mouse, but the mouse isn't the problem here. It's the fact that there is a 2,000 hit point minnow. Even if our team does kill the mouse, even if I help them kill the mouse, I help them kill the object 260. Okay, great. Now I have to push on a 2,000 HP minnow. While I have to do that, there are 2 Sheridans on the hill, which we can very easily see are right above the minnow. So if I push this minnow and I try to shoot him, I'm going to not only get shot by the minnow, but I'm also going to get shot by 2 Sheridans above. While that goes on, we're also going to be getting flanked by an IS-7 and an STB. You might say, well, what about the grill? Well, our grill did 0 and is AFK for the entirety of the game, apart from the first 30 seconds in the beginning. There is literally no feasible way this game was ever going to be a win. It is a 1 versus 6 right now. There is no way me killing a 100 HP mouse would have changed the outcome of this battle. The minnow barely had a dent put on his hit points. The IS-7 still had 1600 HP, and there's 2 Sheridans alive, and STB. There is no way. There are people that somehow think that me risking my HP, driving out of cover, me killing a single 100 hit point mouse would have saved this game because somehow our mouse would have then magically became good. Like, what does killing the mouse give me? Everybody's like, oh, now you could have pushed with your team. All right, well, let's take a look at our team here. So our mouse did 470 damage. A 3000 HP tank penned 1 shot the entire game. I still am very confused on how me saving this player would have in any way changed the outcome of this game. Like, it definitely would not have. Our grill, 0 damage. So the only tank that could have actually helped us win did 0. The Yo, M60, all got crapped on. The only player who was actually fairly decent was the Sheridan. I'll give the Sheridan credit, didn't do too bad of a job. But there is no way that this mouse was going to help us win. To show just how unattainable victory was in this battle, let's take a look at Strat Sketch from a top-down view. In front of us, we can see my team being 3 tanks. You might say, well, Droodles, what about the grill in the back? Well, judging that our grill did 0 and he was AFK, I'm not going to count the grill in this equation at all because he was not there. So the grill, useless, and we had an M60 off to the side, although the M60 would have died either way, no matter what I would have done. So this is my team composition. I have 3 tanks, a half-health mouse, a 1000 health Sheridan, and me, full health in the 121B. Now, what people wanted me to do was instead of turning back like a smart person and trying to hold the hill so we don't get rushed from behind and I can give my grill shots, what people wanted me to do was they wanted me to push to the side of the mouse here, get a shot in, and then either, I don't know, push the minnow or flex back and then deal with the IS-7. Either way, this doesn't work. If I drive towards this mouse, the minnow is going to shoot me right here in the crossing. Okay, so I lose 490 health. Then I have to keep driving out, so I shoot the mouse. Okay, I take whatever, 100 HP off him, I kill him. Then I have to back up. The minnow might shoot me again in this process, depending on how far I have to poke to kill that mouse. So now maybe I've lost 1,000 health. And if the minnow wants to be really spicy, he could just push up here and shoot me again and take off 1,500 of my health. Just the minnow alone could absolutely cripple me if he wanted to. Especially because my Sheridan's still fighting the object 260 over here, and this mouse, a 42% player averaging 890 damage in the past 30 days, probably isn't going to give me all too much support, let alone even know how to pen an enemy minnow. So just alone, me pushing out to help the mouse could lose me 1,000 health, 490 at minimum. But you're also forgetting about the 2 Sheridans, which we did see in the replay looking over this ridge at multiple points. So if I also try to drive out to shoot this mouse, it would not surprise me at all if either one or both of these Sheridans decide to also aim at me and shoot me in the process. So I could actually full health die. And at minimum, I'm losing 500 health. At average, I'm probably going to lose at least 1,000 making this poke. So I'm risking 1,000 health at minimum in my eyes to kill a 100 HP mouse that my Sheridan, who was at 1,000 HP, and my 2,000 HP mouse couldn't kill. And people are also telling me that I should have expected my mouse and Sheridan to not kill the 100 HP mouse, and that's why it was a bad decision for me to push this way to try and hold the hill. Smart players know that the hill is the most important part holding on mines. Let's pretend everything goes perfect. I only get shot once by the minnow, and I kill this mouse. Okay, what do I do now? If I try to push this minnow, I'm going to lose an additional 1,000 health from the other 2 shells he has, and that's without even adding in the 2 Sheridans up top. Okay, let's pretend my mouse decides to go, and he just YOLOs in. He dies to the minnow, and then the minnow's on reload. Okay, I push the minnow, I farm him. Now what? Well, I still got 2 Sheridans above me. Alright, well that's not very helpful. My mouse is dead, and all I have left is a Sheridan. And while this is going on, while I'm circling the minnow, I have 2 Sheridans overlooking me, and an STB flanking from behind, and an IS-7 coming from behind. I still don't get how in any world this was ever an attainable situation to win. No matter what, that IS-7 is going to flank me. I cannot kill that minnow fast enough with the 2 Sheridans overlooking me that at the same time without getting rushed by the IS-7 and STB. What would realistically happen is I would push this minnow because he's on reload, and then both Sheridans would drop on me. And even, let's say I get really lucky and the Sheridans die because my Sheridan helps me kill them, right? So the Sheridans die, all these tanks die. Well, I'm still probably going to be crippled, less than a couple hundred health, and then the IS-7 and STB are going to roll behind me and kill me. Either way, there is no way this would ever have been a win. It ended off being a 6-0 steamroll, and it wasn't even remotely close. We can literally go back to this battle, right at the situation, right? I leave the mouse. Again, we just went over all this on Strat Sketch. I leave the mouse because I think it's much smarter to try and hold the hill. You have to think of this coming from a smart player's perspective here and understanding how all of the map works, right? If you're sitting right here and you're me, you see the mouse and the Sheridan, you expect them to finish off this player. I even said, I'm going to let these guys deal with the mouse. So I'm expecting my mouse and Sheridan to kill the 260 and the mouse over here, right? The Sheridan kills the 260, the mouse does not die. I'm expecting that to happen. So right now my thought process is, I have a grill, which I don't know is AFK, and I have an M60 over here. I need to push mid, I need to distract the IS-7, and I need to farm him, so our grill can shoot the IS-7, cause a bit of pressure, these guys will win this here, I'll be able to hold off the IS-7, the grill might hit him, I can kill the IS-7, and then I can push behind the Sheridans, which is the only feasible way of killing them, and possibly come back with a victory. That right there is the only way this game ever could have been a win. If my grill wasn't AFK, it was a possible win, just on the fact that I could have pushed the IS-7 with help of the grill, and I might have been able to get on the hill and push the Sheridans off. That is the only feasible way this ever would have been a win, hence why I turned back and I tried to see if I could get shells into the IS-7, which we can see happen right here. I'm going to try and get up mid-hill. I'm like, wait a sec, there's nobody here. But, oh, then the IS-7 gets spotted. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to try and get some damage into him. I'm going to hope that my grill shoots him, which we can see is sitting right in the back. But again, the grill is fully AFK. We get one shot into the IS-7, and at this point, I know it's already a loss. Like, what else am I supposed to do here? The mouse gets killed, and if you'll notice, the mouse gets killed by the Sheridan. It's not even the enemy mouse that killed him. It was the tanks sitting on the back, the exact tanks that I was talking about that would pen me as well. At the end of the day, this was never, ever going to be a winnable situation. It is not possible. With an AFK grill and a full health minnow guarded by 2 Sheridans, there is no way it ever would have been a win. The fact that there are people trying to argue that a 100 HP mouse was the outcome of this battle changed, like, oh yeah, my team that couldn't kill a 100 HP mouse was really going to be able to then pen the minnow. Clearly that would have been the case, right? And the STB and IS-7 behind me would have just chilled and let me farm all day, and the Sheridans up top would have let me kill the minnow for free. This is what separates good players from really good players. A good player might see something like that mouse and say, well, it was the smartest decision. You should go and kill the mouse because your team's over there. A really good player will see that mid-hill is the most important way to win. And the only feasible way to win this game was, as I said, to push this IS-7 back and then try to get up to mid-hill to finish off the Sheridans. That is the only way. There's no way, in any way, shape, or form, you're going to be able to deal with this minnow fast enough before these Sheridans absolutely kill you for it. And if I try to focus the Sheridans, the minnow is going to reload. That mouse was not going to do anything. And while our Sheridan did okay, he was still a fairly mediocre player. There is not much else to say here. At the end of the day, I will always stand by something if I believe it to be correct. And when you have a lot of people that believe things that are just flat wrong, I always try to make sure to correct misinformation, because that is one of the biggest problems with Blitz players. They always sit in the chair. They're like, well, you could have done this better and you could have done that better. Even though if you put them in the same situation 99% of the time, they would completely fall apart under stress. It's just weird, honestly. I don't know. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.